Super. So can I have a brave volunteer volunteer today? I won't tell you what it is. It's not difficult. If you attended last class and oh Shiv, awesome. Yes, please come on out. You should be able to unmute yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
Shiv, awesome. Welcome. So what was the takeaway from last class? What did we learn?
Well, so we learned the merits of actually reading the question like very carefully, and we realized that although we don't if you practice this lengthy process enough, then we can get into a habit of being able to identify like the smaller details which can actually support us in an answer in a more effective manner. And these details are things like the units in the questions and the units in the answers. So for example, if we know what unit the answer should be, we can actually easily eliminate some of the question options without actually having to do any real calculations. And we realized that we should highlight certain phrases which I guess are the essence of the question, and that can really help us in determining what the ask is and really how do we get there.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. If you did not attend last class, and Shiv basically gave you a lowdown of what happened. So thank you so much, Shiv. So 4 things. There are 4 important things. Also, do you guys still see Shiv on your screen? For some reason, it should switch back to me, but it doesn't. Okay, that's okay. I will steal the spotlight from you. Cool. Okay. There's 4 things in math approach when you're reading question. The first is you highlight important information in the question. The second thing is you write down the key units and equation. So if anything, it says there are 5 cows, you write down A equals 5 cows. So units and the value. Third thing is you write out the ask. What's the ask of the question? Write out ask very clearly. And the last one is you read through all the options. So for highlight information, units and values, write down ask or identify ask clearly, and then read through all the options. So let's get started. We will test whether or not you understand whether or not you understood this. So I'm telling you, this question, if you read the question carefully, it's a sort of a trick question. So I'm telling you beforehand, please use these 4 things and maybe you'll get this question right. All right, the question we're doing is question 4. Are you seeing question 4? Naman, is it showing more than just question 4 or is it just showing 4?
It's showing question 1 also and 3.
Okay, all right, you guys can get started with question 4 because you can see it. That's fine. I will put up the poll. Remember, there's 4 parts. Highlight important information, know the units, identify the ask clearly, and then look through the options. All right, another 10 seconds. Actually, no, I'll give you another 20 seconds. There we go. All right, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So this time I am going to, I'm not going to share the results either, but so I will go through the process. So there's the 4 steps. The first step is let's highlight information. So we know if 16 plus 4x is 10 more than 14, we need to know this. It's converted into an equation. 16 plus 4x equals to 10 plus 14. And then no units, so we skip step 2. And the third is the ask. What is 8x? So ask is 8x. It's not x. The ask is not x, it's 8x. Be careful. So some of you still put 2. 2 equals x, but 8x is 16. So the right answer was 16, but most of you got this. So this is why we do reading questions properly, so that some of you don't get stuck with 2. This is an easy question. You just need to read the question properly. Okay, now let's get started with, like I promised, let's read some questions. Let's do some questions. So 312, where is 12? All right, so in this one, I want you to attempt this question. And if you are done attempting this question, then I want you to think of different ways to approach the same question. And then we will ask the crowd to basically tell us what different ways there are to approach the same question. So attempt this question, and if you're done, find different ways of doing the same question. And I will launch the poll. And if you're attempting to do solving this question without doing the reading, please go back and do the reading properly, the 4 steps in reading that we talked about. Some of you have gotten this question wrong, so please read again. All right, another 10 seconds. Okay, I'm ending poll. All right. So can somebody that thinks they got this question right, come up and tell me, come up and just read the question with me. So someone please use the raise hand feature. Manal, come on out.
So the question says that a line in the xy plane passed through the origin and has a slope of 1/7.
Okay.
So it says, which of the following points lie on the line? So what I did is kind of like a trial and error thing. So I substituted.
One second, let me pause you. Let's do the reading part. So what do we highlight first in the question?
I said the slope of 1/7 and the origin.
Okay, slope of 1/7 and passes through the origin, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And then any units? Nope, no units, right? And what's the third?
No units.
What's
the sorry?
What's the ask of the question?
You're trying to find which of the points lie on this line. So you have to substitute the line to an equation.
Points lie on the line. This is the ask, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. And then keep reading the question, please.
So it gives you an option of A 0,7, B 1,7, C 7,7, and D 14,2.
Perfect. What are some of the really quick things you noticed in this question?
So for A, B, and C, the Y coordinate is all 7, so they're all the same.
So here, here, and here, Y equals 7. Perfect.
And then D is the only anomaly in that.
Okay.
In A, the X coordinate is 0, so you can immediately
Cross it out.
Yeah, cross it out.
Okay. And then I'll also point out one more, which is that B and D, there's multiple of 7s.
Yeah.
Right? So there's 1, 7, and then 14, 2. Okay, great. So now let's get into solving. What's your approach?
So what I did is I substituted all of them into the equation. So first I made y equals mx plus c.
Okay, y equals mx plus c.
So because it passed through the origin, the y-intercept would be 0. So we can essentially cross out c.
C is gone.
M is the gradient, and they've given us the gradient as 1/7.
1/7, yep.
So the equation would be y equals 1/7 of x.
Awesome. Okay.
And the only option that satisfies that is D.
And so D is the right answer. So how did you get that? How did you get D is the right answer? What was your process?
I just kind of substituted, I just kind of made the equation, then I saw that A, B, and C wouldn't satisfy it. So kind of like a trial and error.
Yes. So you basically did the plug and chug approach. I love it. Perfect. Okay. Plug and chug. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Manal. Did anybody else do it a different way? Dhruv, what was your approach?
Okay, so for me, I kind of took it as, the gradient is 1/7, right?
Okay.
So my school taught me that the gradient is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1.
Oh, yes. Yes. Okay. So
So we already have 1 point, which is the origin 0, 0. So what I did was one possible way you could get the gradient 1/7 is you take the point y2 as 7. Wait,
Yeah.
sorry, as 1
Yeah.
minus 0
Yeah.
over 7 minus 0. So that would give you 1/7. So so you know so you basically know that a point is 1/7 as well. Wait, no, sorry, I meant 7, 1. A point is 7, 1 as well, right? Because the x coordinate is 7 and y coordinate is 1.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes.
And so you can kind of what's the word? Like
Multiply.
you can kind of understand from there that 14.2 would also be a point on that line.
Perfect. Okay. So then the second approach is to use formula. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Dhruv. Anybody else did it a different way? Aryan, come on up.
So in the question it says that it has a slope of 1/7.
Yeah.
So you already know that c equals 0.
Sorry,
So,
what has to? Say that again.
c is 0. So you can just cross that out.
No, you cut out. Say that once more, please.
In the y equals mx plus c equation, formula, c equals 0. So you can just cross that out.
Yeah. Okay. Equals 0.
And then after that, you know that the gradient is 1/7.
Yeah.
So that means that it has a rise of 1 and a run of 7.
Yeah.
So starting from 0, 0, I just added 7 to x and 1 to y until I got one of those points.
Got it. Okay. So then you did 0, 0, and then you added 7 to y and 1 to like that?
No, I added 7 to x and then 1 to y until I got one of those points.
Perfect. Okay. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Aryan. This is, okay, we're going to put this under used formula approach. Thank you. Arjun, what's your approach?
Okay, so I just basically plugged 7 in the y is equal to x by 7 because there are 3 options with y as 7.
Yes, okay, thank you.
And then that gives x is equal to 49, which is not there in any of the options. So that directly goes to D.
Perfect, okay. So you said if y equals 7, then x equals 49. Therefore, A, B, and C are all crossed out.
Yes.
Cool. So we call this approach cross out MCQ. Perfect. Thank you. Any other approach? There's one more approach that maybe you could. Oh, you cannot see. Okay. Shiv, go ahead.
So I don't know whether this is the approach you're looking for because it's a pretty messy method, but like I use a sort of process of elimination. So as soon as I read the question and saw the options, I knew that A couldn't be the answer because it's not the origin. Because like the origin is 0, 0,
Yeah.
and like in the one of the coordinates is 0, whereas the other is non-zero. So I
Mhm.
immediately crossed that out, and I also immediately crossed C out because I know that that the line passes through the origin and it has a slope which is not equal to 1. So for me, it was between B and D, and it was just between like the arrangement, like whether the larger term should come first or second.
Yes.
And the slope of like 1/7, I knew that x had to be bigger than y because it's like a slope like of like less than 45-degree angle. So then I chose option D.
Perfect, perfect. Yes. So what Shiv mentioned is really important, which is that, look, if you read the question, you can cross out A and C very quickly, and then you're just deciding between B and D. And the only difference is to know what is larger, X or Y. So what we call this approach is a combination of cross out MCQ and then pick, or pick, no, what do we call this? Yeah, sorry, narrow down. So you do both of these steps together. And if you do both of these together, then you save yourself a lot of mathematics, basically. The only other approach that maybe can be a little messy is you draw a nice little graph. So where do I draw this graph? Let's draw it here. So you have a 0 and a 7, so maybe 1 point here. You have a 1 and a 7, so another point here. You have a 7, 7, a point there. You have a 14 and a 2, a point here. And you know the gradient is 1/7, so your line looks something like this. And so you know that this is the right answer. So that's the only other thing you can do. Okay, let me do another poll. The question I have for you is, when you were approaching this question, question number 12, did you read the question like how we went over last class? Did you read the question, or did you skip directly to solving? Okay, another 2 seconds, 3, 2, okay, perfect. This is what we have. So thank you so much for those of you that read the question. Reading the question in this manner is extremely important. We spent an hour on this because it is very important. For those of you that did not follow this approach, you can miss out on some very big shortcuts that can come through by reading the question. Okay, let's move on. Let's do number 18 now. We are still in the non-calculator section. Okay. I will. Oh, I can't launch a survey. That's right, because, okay. I just want to show you a couple different ways. So one method to do this one is solve using algebra. Can anyone without solving raise their hand if they can think of a different approach? Okay. I want to ask you to share, just if anybody else can think of a different approach, please just raise your hand on it. So far we have Shiv can see one, Dhruv, okay. Anybody else can think of a different approach than just solving? And what I mean by solving using algebra, I mean first you find x in terms of y, and then you plug, and then you solve for x. Okay, we have a couple people. Perfect, all right. I'm just gonna quickly breeze through a couple of different ways to do this. So solving using algebra, we all know how to solve simultaneous equations, so I'm not gonna go over that. The second approach is what I call stacked sim equations. So what a stacked simultaneous equation is you put the x and x values on top of each other and the y and y value on top of each other like this, and the constants on top of each other. And then you basically subtract like you would in a normal one. So you get column y subtraction. So x minus x equals 0, y minus 2y equals minus y, equals, you copy down here, and minus 9 minus 25, what does that equal to? That equals to positive 16. Yeah. So now your equation is negative y. So negative y equals 16 is an actual solution to this problem by simply doing stacked subtraction. And so y equals 16. All right, now, is this the answer? No, it's not, because if you read the question, it's asking for a value of x.
Y is equal to negative 16, right? Sorry.
Yes, nice. Working with negatives. I made a working with negatives mistake. I need to practice by working with negatives. Thank you, Drew. Okay, so you have y equals negative 16, and then you plug it back in and you get x. We know how to do that. The other way to do this is, let's remove this. Let's do it another way. Let's solve for x directly. So what we do here is we multiply this by 2. So this becomes 2x plus 2y equals minus, oh no, not minus 19, minus 18. And then we copy down x plus 2y equals minus 25. And then again, we do column-wise subtraction. So 2x minus x equals x, plus 2y minus 2y equals 0, equals negative 18 minus minus 25 is 7. Therefore, x equals 7. Is that? I can't find the answer as Naman. Is that the right answer? I can't find my sheet. But that should be.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So a simultaneous equation comes up very often in SAT. So this is a very great way. Now, quick survey. Has anybody done matrices? I'll launch a poll. Have you done matrices? Have you learned matrices in school?
Only in school or does informally count?
Just anywhere. If you know matrices, doesn't matter where. Okay. So only 40% of you have learned matrices. So I'll quickly go over this. If you don't know this, this can be something you learn on your own later. Just Google search Khan Academy matrices. So the way we do in matrices is you work with all of the consonants. So let's remove all this. Let's set up the matrix here. So you get 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 2, x, y, negative 9, negative 25. And it's basically the same thing we did in stacked equation, except it's a different form. So here what we'll do is 2 times this one. So we get 2, 2, 1, 2, x, y, 18, 25. And then you do row 1 minus row 2. So you get 2, 2, sorry. You get 1, 0, 1, 2, x, y equals to negative 7. Is it negative 7 or 7? Row 1 minus row 2, so that's 7, positive 7. And this becomes negative 25. Okay, so for those of you that know matrices, we can read off the answer from here. If you don't know matrices, then you can learn it. So this is another method that you can use. So I bring this up because I want you to really think about different ways of solving the question, not just the normal way. Okay, Shivansh, what's the other way to solve this question? Would love to hear it.
Okay, so we can use cross multiplication method in this.
Okay, tell me more.
So bring the constants to the left-hand side.
Okay.
So x plus y plus 9 is equal to 0, and x plus 2y plus 25 is equal to 0.
Okay.
And then you can put it in a formula. The formula is x by b1 c2 minus b2 c1 is equal to y by c1 a2 minus c2 a1.
Okay. Okay.
It's actually a pretty long method.
Okay.
So you,
okay. So what's that formula called? So people can search it up.
Cross multiplication method.
Cross multiplication method. Okay. Sweet. Thank you. I don't know this.
It's mainly used when there are more variables and constants.
I see, but there's 2, 2, right? So they're the same here.
Like in this question, you can just use substitution and elimination. But if the question is more complex, then you can use cross multiplication.
Right, okay, I will look that up. Thank you so much for telling me about this. And other people can also look that up. I'm gonna highlight this to search up later. Cool. Thank you. Tanya, you have your hand raised. You want to share something? No? Okay, sweet. All right. So we are now jumping into the calculator section. So we're not going to solve these. I'm just going to put them up and ask people to tell me different ways to solve the same question. All right, this is the question. If you can think of a way, just raise your hand, please. Oh, perfect. Dhruv, what's one way you would do this? Come on out.
Well, you just make an equation. So modulus of n minus 1 plus 1 equals 0, right?
Yep.
And you shift over the 1 to the other side. So it becomes modulus of n minus 1 equals -1.
Perfect. Equation solved. Thank you.
Yep.
Shiv, come on out. Do you have a different approach, or is this your approach?
Oh no, it's the same one.
All right, perfect. Shreya, I think I saw you raise your hand. Did you have a different approach?
No.
Okay. Okay, so in this one, the other way that we always want to look at is cross out MCQ. So you can know that 0 is definitely not going to be an answer here. And then you basically are trying to plug and chug these ones. So you cross out MCQ, and then the third one is plug and chug. If you don't know how to do this, please learn modulus. Modulus is important. It comes up often. So the third approach is plug this one. So you get, if you plug 1, you get 1 minus 1 plus 1 equals 1. So that's not it. 2 minus 1 plus 1 equals 2. So that's not it. And so therefore, it has to be D. So here we did cross out MCQ, plug and chug, and then 4 was narrow. Did we say narrow down or narrow in? I think it's a narrow down. You can just come out and tell me if I'm wrong. So that's the other way to do this. So you will notice that these 4 approaches come up very often. And the first one people jump to is equation solving, but many times 2, 3, and 4 can be faster. So I would just ask that we pause and we think a little bit before we approach the question. Okay, next question is 411. Let's go to 411. I'm going to read this question for you. So which of the following number is not important, a solution of the inequality? So we want not a solution of this inequality. So we want, the ask is value of x that does not satisfy inequality. I will launch a poll for this one. Okay, so hopefully we went over 4 different approaches just above. Hopefully you're not doing equation solving, just to practice the muscle of doing it another way. All right, let me, I'll keep the poll open actually. Cool, so 1 is equation solve. We all know how to do that. Just bring this on this side, that on this side, et cetera, et cetera. Boring mathematics. 2 is plug and chug. So you can put in these values in X and see if it satisfies. We know this. 3 is cross out. So this is actually a fun one. So let's say you have a graph. I have this line, and let's just say I have this line, okay? And I want to see when this line over here, well, actually, let me use 2 colors. I have a blue line, and I have a red line. I want to know when is blue less than red. So blue is less than red here onwards, right? And these are 2 linear equations. So these are 2 straight lines. So blue is less than red over here. Therefore, if you think about this, it can only be either D or A. You can cross out B or C, because if B is a solution, then either A or C or D will also have to be a solution, right? If you have a solution here, if you have 4 points like this, then if this is a solution, if this one here is a solution, then this also has to be a solution. So you know it can only be the extremes. So even when you plug and chug, you only need to plug and chug these 2. So actually, I made a mistake. Let me flip around these 2. You want to cross out first, and then plug and chug. Wow, I made a bunch of different stuff. So yeah, this is the approach we want to take. And usually this is what matches. So you know that it can either be only A or D. And then you plug in the right answer, and let's see, what is the right answer? Negative 1, 3 minus 5, 3. It's this, right? Yeah, is it A? Is the answer A? Yeah, everyone got A. Perfect, cool. I just there. So for those of you, yes, so this is it. Today's approach is this. Does this make sense? I'm going to do another poll. What I just talked about, did that make sense? Okay, cool. Thank you. If it did not make sense, then I would add in this as a in your to-do to learn graphing simultaneous equations. All right, let's go to the next one, 414. All right, let's do this one, please. And, oh, okay, never mind. And for those of you that are done, please think of different ways you can solve this problem. I want you to practice that muscle. And hopefully you're reading the question like we talked. You've identified the ask. Okay, so I'll get started. So table above lists the lengths to the nearest inch. Okay, so we have inches of a random sample of 21, just 21 samples, a random sample of 21. The outlier measurement of, so we know 24 is outlier, so outlier. Of the mean, median, and range of the values listed, which will change the most? So which will change the most is our question. If the 24-inch measurement is removed. So this is also important. If the 24-inch measurement is removed, this is important from the data. Okay, so can somebody tell me what was their approach? Shiv, come on up.
Right. So I mean, like initially, like my impulse, like I was like tempted to just like initially just like impulse write an answer and realize I should probably take a more rational approach.
Okay.
So what I did was I first examined the median. So I know that like median is like the mid, it's like the data point in like the middle of the entire set. So when I examined the middle, I saw that the current median was 12. And I also realized that even if you remove the outlier, then the median, because there are like so many 12s over there, even if you remove that, it'll still remain 12.
Okay,
so that would actually change.
So you found the median because you noticed that these are in increasing order and they're sorted. So the median is the middle. It's not, the middle is not in the first two rows. We cross out 3, we cross out 3, we get this. So that's how you got the median, right? So this is the median. And if we remove 24, then even if the median goes here, it's still 12. So therefore, B does not change.
And I know that the range will change by some amount. So I can eliminate D also because if the median is changing by 0 and the range is changing by some amount, then that means it can't be D for sure.
Because range changes. And median does not. So the range goes from 8 to 24 to 8 to 16, which is a difference of 8, right? Yep.
Yeah.
And then
like this part I'm not proud of. I just like sort of knew that as I sort of felt that it wouldn't be the mean. I mean, like intuitively, I just thought that it'd be the range, so I put down the range. But that's probably not how I ideally ought to do it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. If you're confident like that, you can do that. The other way you can just do it is you could calculate it, and that would be the brute force method. That would take a long time. Let's see, what's the other way you could do this? So you know that the mean has to be inside the range, right? So the mean has to be within 8 to 16. And so if we have 8 to 16 is the range and 12 is in the middle, for the mean to move more than 8 is very difficult. So that can be an answer. Okay, awesome. The only other, let's see, what other method did I have for this one? Yes, so actually, so one approach is to calculate all, so which Shiv did for B and C. The other approach is to actually estimate, which I think mean has to be estimated. There's no need to calculate it. You can figure it out, just estimate. But the third one is, because we're in the calculator section, you could put this in your calculator. You could put all of this data in your calculator, and I think there's a package, if you have a graphing calculator, that tells you mean, median, and mode. Am I correct? Can you put up a thumbs up if I'm correct, or a thumbs down if you don't agree? A calculator should have a package. Your graphing calculator should have a package. Okay, perfect. I have a thumbs up. Thank you. Cool. I want to go back to this one quickly because this one can also be put into your calculator. You can just graph this and then see for which point is lower. So remember, when you're in the calculator, there's also another option, which is for calculator. But I would hope that you will notice that for many of them, the calculator is much longer. Let me see, do you agree with that? Do you agree that for 11, calculator will be much longer? On this poll. Okay, do you agree that for 11, calculator will take longer? Sweet, this is what we have. Okay, so most of you agree. You can still do the calculator. I'm not stopping you from doing it. All I'm asking you is just pause and consider. That's all I'm asking you. You should do what is fastest for you. Okay, let's do one more question. Let's do the 30th question. Where is it? This one. This is a good one. Let's do 30, please. And remember, I hope you're please reading the question, reading the options, and then trying to solve. Read the question. The first few people that answered this question got it wrong. So if you didn't read the question and didn't read the options, you're getting this question wrong. Even now, more than 50% of you are getting it wrong. So please read the question, read the options, and then answer the question. All right, that number's going down. It's very interesting because everybody that answered in the first 10 to 15 seconds got this question incorrect. Or let me put it another way. Everybody that got it incorrect has put this answer in the first 10 to 15 seconds. So please read the question, read the options, figure out the ask, and then go for it. Okay, another 10 seconds. Or actually, no, there's only half of you have answered, so I'll give you another 30 seconds. All right, I'm gonna unfold here. Okay, so when you read the question, you have a graph in the XY plane. So you wanna know what's the equivalent form. But you also wanna know from which the coordinates of the vertex A can be identified as constant in the equation. This is very important. Coordinates of vertex A can be identified as constants in the equation. So if you chose A, you cannot identify the coordinates of the vertex. This is the vertex. If you chose A, you cannot identify it. So you got tricked by a second part question. Folks, we cannot keep falling for this. Many of you got A. We cannot keep falling for second part questions. We need to practice reading questions. So it's not A. What is the answer? The answer, well, it's not B either because we cross out, we cannot get the vertex from B either. We can seem to get the vertex from C or D. So we get 2 and -15. And we get 1 and -16 from here. So it could be one of these. And are both of these equivalent to this? So we have x squared minus 2x minus 15, and then we have x squared minus 2x minus, no, plus 1. Yep, so they're both equivalent. So equivalent, so they're both equivalent. So now it's just figuring out what's the vertex of this. So the vertex can be found by, how's the vertex found for this one? Yeah, so you want to put it in this form to read out the vertex properly. So that's the form you want it in. The other way you can do it is you can differentiate this equation. So if you've done differentiation, you do dy over dx equals to 2x minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, x equals to -1. No, x equals to 1. And that's when you get the coordinate of the middle, and then you put x equals 1 back into this equation, and that's when you get y. I went over this quickly because many of you may not know differentiation. For those of you that know, you understood this approach. Okay, the long way to do this would be to actually complete the square. So if you completed the square, then you took the long way to do this. So please don't take the long way. All right, I have some questions for you now. All right, hey, okay, question 1. Remember yesterday we talked about concentration. We identified that concentration is the root cause for most of these mistakes, paying attention and concentration. Remember that, right? Now I want you to, I think like all of you except for 2 or 3 people agreed with that. So great. I would like you to type in chat how you think we can increase our concentration and attention. Please type in public chat, don't private chat it. How can we increase our concentration and attention? Okay, read the question out loud. Oh wait, hold on, where are we? Yes, meditation, practice, breaks, good night's sleep, meditation, sleep, a room with no distraction, deep breathing, sleep, removing distractions, water, removing distractions, meditation, yoga, yes, sleep, hydrate, practice, underline words, no distraction, sleep, lots of sleeping, lots of meditation, breathing, hypnosis, okay, yes, I don't know it. Focus on the question, underlining, focus on your physical gains. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Silence, reread the question. Priyanka thinks the 4-point approach is good. Organized workplace, 6, next to the word toppers, and no distractions, setting goals, food. Okay, so many of you know how to do these. Many of you know the answers. Like the answers are just this, like good food, silence, focus, sleep, meditation, things like that. So would you be excited if we do some of these together? As in like in class, we do a quick meditation exercise. We're not gonna sleep in class, that's not gonna happen. But a quick meditation exercise to help us focus better. Okay, awesome. Nice, all of you. I love it. What's the other question I had for you? Okay, yes. Now in chat, I want you to put down the answer to, if you are the maker of the SAT, you can only change one thing about the SAT to make it more difficult. What do you do? Just one thing about the SAT. Lesser time. Remove options, that's a good one, lesser time. Yes, perfect, okay, you guys got it. Basically, the only way human beings have figured out how to make questions difficult for smart people is to give more questions and less time. So I bring this up because last time we talked about as time being a reason for these mistakes. This is by design. It's the only way we can make tests more difficult for everybody. So we will have to work with that. It's like saying this math SAT is hard because there's questions on it. That's the nature of the paper. So we have to work with that. Oh, we are done. Okay, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun today. Hopefully you did too. And let me send you out with some music.
I've been running through the jungle, I've been running